Welcome to Natural Disasters STEM lesson brought to you by Alpha Kappa Alpha Sorority Incorporated, Rho Omega chapter. I am Chazlee Jackson and I will be exploring natural disasters with you today. Today we will explore natural disasters and we will be creating our own at the end. So let's get started. We'll learn about 4 different types of natural disasters. We'll start with earthquakes. Now, the Earth's crust is made up of large pieces of land called tectonic plates. These plates can sometimes move up and down and bump into each other, and when that happens, they can cause the Earth to shake or even cause it to crack. And these are called earthquakes. An earthquake is the shaking and the rumbling of Earth's crust. Earthquakes can cause different types of destruction. Some cause only small, like shakes, like little rumbles, and others can be so powerful and strong that they move the land and everything on it. One interesting fact about them is they can be very hard to predict. So after all this time of earthquakes happening on this earth and everything that we go through all the time, earthquakes are still very hard to predict for scientists. So I think that's pretty interesting to know that. Now let's talk about hurricanes. Now, a hurricane is a really big storm. It starts in the ocean and comes out onto the land. Hurricanes cause these strong winds that can reach up to 200 miles per hour. That's really fast, like really fast. And once hurricanes come onto the land, they cause heavy rain, wind, and huge ocean waves. Hurricanes can be very serious and very dangerous. How are they formed? Well, I'm glad you asked. Hurricanes are formed in the ocean water. It happens when warm air rises from the ocean. The winds move down at the same speed and force. The winds collide, which makes warm air, and that's when it rises up. This creates water droplets, or water vapor, and they make clouds that turn into a hurricane. Yeah. A lot, right? So destruction. Well, what type of destruction can a hurricane cause? Well, the hurricanes can actually shut down cities and cause lots of damages to homes or the environment and the environment. Now, an interesting fact about hurricanes is that hurricanes are given names. They alternate between lists of female and male. Is it me or did it just get cold in here? It's time to talk about blizzards. Now, what is a blizzard? Well, if you haven't noticed already, it probably has something to do with the cold weather. Well, a blizzard is actually a serious winter storm. They have very strong winds that make it hard to see. So, like you can't see through a blizzard. The temperature drops and makes it very, very cold. And there can be huge amounts of snowfall. So blizzards can be very, very, very dangerous. Now, what causes a blizzard? So we know that snow is formed from super cold air. Then that cold air becomes wet from moisture, which is called water vapor. Here we go with that word again. And when the warm air from the earth rises up to meet the cold, wet air, it creates large amounts of snowfall. So the temperature has to be below freezing. So anything below 32 degrees Fahrenheit for snow to form. So it's got to be really, really cold, like colder than your freezer that you put your ice cream in. So now let's talk about the destruction. So blizzards can also shut down cities. Electrical wires and trees will sometimes fall because of the winds and the strong winds and the heavy snow. And the roofs can even cave in and windows can even break. Whoa. Now, an interesting fact about blizzards from a snowstorm, an interesting fact about blizzards, for a snowstorm to be considered a blizzard, it has to have really strong winds and it has to cause low visibility for a minimum of 3 hours. So it has to be like you can barely see for a minimum, like at least 3 hours in order for it to be considered a blizzard. Now, a blizzard can bring some strong winds, but let's talk about another natural disaster that can bring strong winds, a cyclone, better known as a tornado. So you might be wondering, and maybe you already know what a tornado is, but what is a tornado? Tornadoes are formed during powerful thunderstorms. A tornado can form when there is warm, humid air and it combines with cold air. So we notice that there's a trend with how severe weather is formed. It's usually warm air meeting cold air. So this destruction that can happen from a tornado is that tornadoes can travel like for long, very long miles and very high speeds. So they destroy anything in their path. Tornadoes can destroy the environment by tearing down different buildings or trees. And tornadoes can cost people in cities lots of money to repair the damages. So it can also take many years to repair after a tornado has happened. An interesting fact about tornadoes is that they can also be called twisters, which is kind of cool because that's exactly what they do. They just twist and twist and twist. Let's go ahead and create a tornado of our own. Here are the materials that you will need. A glass jar with a lid, water from the tap, and dishwashing detergent. That's it. Let's begin. All right, so I just have a regular glass jar and I've already filled it up with water. You can get whatever type of glass jar that you may have already. I have this glass jar that I filled up with some tap water and I'm going to just go ahead and take this top off, okay? You will also make sure that you have adult help and supervision while doing this activity. Now, after you filled up your glass jar with water, you're going to take some soap and you're just going to give it a big squirt, okay? And that's it. Then you're going to replace the top and tighten it really, really tight, okay? Now, I'm going to take this and I'm going to spin it, shake it, okay? So we're going to spin, shake it. Okay? And when you stop, you'll see a tornado. And you can do this as many times as you want until your heart gives out. You can do this, okay? I'm going to prove it to you. You can do it so many different times. And it's always going to make a tornado. And that is a tornado in a jar. Do it one more time. I think that's so cool. Okay, one more time. It's just so cool. Oh man. I enjoyed that. Thank you all so very much. That was so exciting. And I'm so glad that we got to explore and do this fun activity together. Until next time. Thank you for watching Rho Omega's Natural Disasters STEM lesson.